This is another short story I wrote called Tea, partly fiction, partly real, true story about my grandmother Elsie. It's called Tea. It's about 6 minutes. There was little left that Elsie could call her own. In 87 years, she had left a trail behind her as pieces had fallen away. Born to a well-to-do family in Lithuania, her early memories were cushioned with heavy upholstered chairs and delicately carved furniture. The abundance of her early life shattered one blurred afternoon when the police broke into their home and dragged her father away. For 2 days, her mother wailed uncontrollably, and when the tears exhausted her, she held Elsie in her arms. "You must escape," she explained, in the same determined voice she used when telling Elsie she must eat her vegetables. "They will be back soon to put me in a place called a ghetto where people live behind walls like animals." She began to rock the 6-year-old child as if she was still an infant. "Elsie, my baby, you can't come with me. I won't let that happen to you. It's all arranged." Confusion and terror struck Elsie like a blow across the face. "No," she screamed. "I want to stay with you, Mommy. Please don't go away." "You have to be brave for both of us now, my child. Tonight, it's all ready. Your father and I have been planning this night for months. Uncle Abe is helping us." That night, Elsie was told to be perfectly still as she laid inside a wooden coffin carefully placed at her feet were the only possessions that would travel with her to freedom: a Russian samovar, lace linens stitched over a lifetime, a hand-painted china tea set over 100 years old, and all the gold and silver coins that the family had hidden in the house. Elsie never saw her mother again. The road to freedom was long and lonely. Once across the border, Elsie and her possessions were pried out of the coffin and put on the back of a farm wagon drawn by 2 coughing mules. Uncle Abe gave her a last hug. "This is as far as I can go. Now you will be in the hands of our friends." The old farmer guarding the wagon tipped his worn straw hat to Elsie. His smile revealed a mouth of blackened teeth. "This is Moisha," her uncle explained. "He is known as the Gate here in Poland because he is the entrance to the underground. Elsie, don't be afraid. There are families that stretch all the way from here to the New World, and they will care for you." Once in her teen years, safe in America, she put a map of the world over her bed, and in red ink she drew a line that traced her journey across Eastern Europe into Germany, then through Denmark to Sweden, where she was put on a ship to Canada. Her mother's dream for a quick escape had taken 4 years. Elsie was 10 when she reached Canada and 13 when she would finally call Chicago her home. The money was all spent, lost, or stolen before she even reached Sweden. The Russian samovar was pawned to help pay her passage to the New World. The lace linens disappeared in the moves between orphanages in Canada, and all that was left was the hand-painted tea set. Elsie lived in Chicago for 74 years. She married an immigrant from Poland, and they had 2 daughters. Each day, she served her family and her friends tea in the antique cups, then carefully washed and dried each one. Not a crack or a chip revealed the many hands that held him. After her husband died, Elsie's oldest daughter, Rebecca, begged her to move to California with her family. "You can't stay here alone now, Mother. And anyway, the children need their grandmother." Before Elsie could protest, her daughter began to carefully pack the tea set. So at 87, Elsie found herself living in a 1-room granny apartment in Los Angeles. None of the furniture was hers. It all came with the place. But she did have her tea set sitting on top of the dresser and her hot plate for afternoon tea. Her granddaughter lived only a few miles away. The jolt hit at 6:01 a.m., 7.2 on the Richter scale. The radio reported it. Elsie sat straight up in bed, her eyes wide with shock. Just 10 minutes later, her granddaughter came breaking through the door. "Daddy, run, run, it's the police," Elsie screamed. "Quick, before they take you away." "No, Grandma, it's me, Esther. Don't be afraid. You're all right." Elsie's bed had crashed across the room into the far wall. The furniture had all toppled and drawers had spilled out their contents. The small room looked as though it had been ransacked. Esther put her arms around Elsie and slowly patted her back. "Ah, there you are, Tatala, the face of an angel." Elsie's breathing slowed down as she recognized her granddaughter. "I came as fast as I could. An angel," her grandmother kept repeating. "We have to go now," Esther said, helping Elsie out of bed. "There will be aftershocks, and this old place isn't safe." "Yes, we go," Elsie quickly agreed. "But wait, I'm forgetting." She looked for her tea set and found it in pieces beneath her feet. "Oh, God in heaven, help me." She bent to gather the broken fragments, but Esther stopped her. "Grandma, please, let's go now. It's not safe." Elsie allowed her granddaughter to push her through the rumble out into the open. They had just cleared the door when another jolt hit. Esther held her grandmother tightly and moved her away from the house. The smell of gas was everywhere. People rushed out of their homes after the initial panic. They sat down in the street and waited, talking quietly. "It looks like a refugee camp," Elsie said, and then she smiled at her granddaughter. "You saved my life." "Oh, Grandma, you're so dramatic. You were fine. But I'm sorry about your tea set." "The tea set? Yes, it's gone, I know." Soundless tears came from her eyes. Esther clasped her grandmother's swollen hands. "We'll go together and buy a beautiful tea set, and we can still have tea together." "No," Elsie said quietly. "The tea is done. It had a long life, and it served me well. All the people who helped me on my journey to America, they drank from these cups. And all the people I have loved in my life, they drank from these cups. It is enough." Then suddenly Elsie began to laugh. "Don't talk about teacups now. We don't know if we'll have a roof over our heads tonight. You're a good girl, my little Tatala." "Grandma, I'm 27 years old and you can still call me Tatala." "When you get married, I'll buy you a tea set." "Oh, anything to get me married." People stayed in the street all night. They brought blankets out of their bedrooms and talked to calm one another until dawn. Someone offered Esther and Elsie tea in coffee mugs. They held the mugs like delicate china and drank the hot, healing liquid together.